Alright, I'm back again with another collection video, this time for 88 Films Blu-ray. Now, 88 Films is a very interesting company based in the UK. They've released a lot of horror movies, lots of cult movies, lots of really weird out there stuff. They also release Japanese movies, horror stuff mainly, and a lot of Hong Kong movies, which is something that many of the other labels that I've discussed already on the channel don't really do that much. And Radiance has some, Criterion has some. I will later on at some point do a collection video for Eureka Entertainment, so Masters of Cinema and that sort of stuff. They have a bunch of Hong Kong movies as well, but ADA Films are doing a really good job covering the Hong Kong action, Hong Kong horror, and so on genres. Now, also, I'm filming this quite late, so there's some shadow play going on. Hope you enjoy that. During the course of this video, you will see how just out there 88 Films are as a company. There are so many bizarre movies. Sometimes they release really solid dramas that you wouldn't expect them to release, and then they do just the most disgusting schlock you'll ever see, right? So these are in not really any particular order. Some of these are alphabetized, most of them aren't. Let's start off with 10 to Midnight. Now, as you can see, they have a Slasher Classics collection line. And this is the only one from that collection that I have watched. So this is number 44. I have a lot of catching up to do. This is a Charles Bronson movie. Again, like for the Arrow Films, Arrow videos, I'm not going to flip through the booklets in these ones. These are often full of just nudity and gore and extreme violence, so I'm not going to flip through them. The covers are gruesome enough most times. But yeah, just to mention that, I forgot to say that at the start. So yeah, 10 to Midnight, Charles Bronson. It's a serial killer movie. I really enjoy this one. Has one of the most disturbing slasher villains probably of all time. This guy who strips naked every time he kills people, so he's just running around naked, covered in blood with a knife. It's something, right? So next up we have some weirdness. We have Body Melt. Unfortunately, this is a reprint. It's not the first print. Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, Body Melt, notorious B movie. It's a lot like street trash, as it says there. So just people melting. The style that this movie goes for is something I haven't seen in any other movie. Like it has this early 2000s just no pun intended, brain melting internet aesthetic. That's really unappealing, but it kind of works at the same time, and then just a bunch of people start melting. The special effects are really good in this movie. Right, then we have a hood classic, Stuart Gordon's Castle Freak, which is kind of an H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. It has Jeffrey Combs in it, the main guy from Reanimator, and also Barbara Crampton, who's from Stuart Gordon's From Beyond. Yeah, Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton go to a castle. They live there, and there is a castle freak, which comes as a surprise probably to everyone, who is in the castle. So there's that. It's something. It's a movie. I enjoy it. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. Could I get some focus, please? Thank you. Yes. Then we have Night of the Comet with this very nice glossy slipcover. Now, I already also have the earlier Blu-ray of this by Arrow. I don't know if there's much of a difference. I didn't really see any significant change in the picture quality or anything. It's a zombie movie. It's all right. I've never been a huge fan of this movie, but it's all right. Has some California Valley girls who are trying to survive a zombie apocalypse. more of a zombie comedy than a proper straight up horror movie. Then we got another Charles Bronson movie, Messenger of Death. And this is the prototypical Charles Bronson movie. Charles Bronson with a big gun, lots of bad guys, and he shoots all of them. So it's a very typical story of there's this blood feud between these two brothers, and they both have like posses, and Charles Bronson is there in the middle of that blood feud. It's all right. Then we have first of the ones that I don't really know why 88 Films released this, but I'm glad that they did. They released Matewan by John Sayles, which is a coal mining thriller. You have a bunch of coal miners who are trying to start a union. There's a union busters come to town. There are the union busters, and lots of bad stuff happens to a lot of people. It's a bit too long. I think it's over 2 hours, right? Yeah, it's almost 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's a bit too long, but otherwise very enjoyable movie. Also the main guy, I can't remember the name of the actor. It probably says here, Joe Kenahan. He's all right. You see him in just a bunch of movies, but he never became this big star. Very recognizable face. Then we have a bunch of limited edition stuff here, some more stuff. Hatchet for the Honeymoon. This is a Mario Bava movie. An underrated one, I would think. It's kind of like a giallo, but not really. It cannot be a giallo, like this Italian murder mystery movie, if you know from the start who the killer is. It's this guy. It's not even a mystery. Like this guy, it's more like a serial killer movie of this guy just killing people. And yeah, it's obvious from the start that he's the killer. Is there some? Yeah, I'll do the same thing here that I did with Arrow, where if they have the same cover art for both the slip and the actual case, I'll flip the cover around. So I forgot to do it for some of these. It's really annoying when you get this new release and it has the same cover for both of the cases. Right, so there we have Il rosso segno della foglia, or something like that. So yeah, Hatchet for Honeymoon. I think this is a pretty good one. It's Mario Bava. He doesn't miss ever. So definitely worth watching if you're into Italian horror movies. Then we have, this is a good one, Iron Warrior. Now, as you can probably see from the cover, this is a low-budget fantasy movie from Italy. And I would say that this is one of the better ones. Definitely worth watching if you're into this really cheesy, just stupid fantasy stuff. It's a ridiculous movie. I think it's worth a watch. Original cover art, incredible. How could you not be into this stuff? Then we have this is from Australia. Yeah, I think it is. Where's this British? I can't remember. Well, anyway, we have Romper Stomper, which is a neo-Nazi movie featuring Russell Crowe as one of the main people. Again, do we have another cover? Yes, we do. It's all right. It's about immigration and racism and these tensions between groups of people. Very explosive movie. Lots of action in it. A very well shot escape sequence, like chase sequence in it as well. And a very nice looking cover. It's all right. Then we have an absolute stinker, one of the worst movies in the collection probably. Tentacles. It has a bunch of very famous American actors in it. It has John Huston. It has Henry Fonda, Shelley Winters, and the movie stinks. It's really bad. Again, I'll have to flip through the cover. Flip it around, I should say. Man, I was hoping that this would be a good one. Some hidden gem octopus movie from Italy, but it's just awful. It's so slow and just a waste of time. It's 140 minutes. That's like 15 minutes too long for a movie in this genre. Yeah, that's the tentacoli. Man, the American actors aren't used at all, and it looks like stock footage for most of the running time. There is a sequence in it where the octopus finally attacks, and it looks kind of good. Like the special effects for that one scene aren't the worst imaginable, but for the most part, it's just a waste of time. I wouldn't recommend Tentacles to anyone. Right. Then we have the incredibly named The Torture Chamber of Dr. Sadism, starring Christopher Lee. Now, this is your typical Christopher Lee gothic horror. You have a castle. Christopher Lee is there, and there are some pretty gruesome death stuff and torture scenes here. Yeah, a deep cut, worth watching. Has some interesting. Oh yeah, it has a German name as well. Die Schlangengrube und das Pendel. So this is a The Pit and the Pendulum ripoff. The American, the Roger Corman, Edgar Allan Poe adaptation. The Pit and the Pendulum. It's a spoof of that. Not a spoof, but a ripoff of that. Then we have Umberto Lenzi, who is low-key one of my favorite Italian directors. This one, not so much the tough ones. It's a very basic police crime investigation movie. It's one of these Italian crime movies where the main character just like the plot moves forward by the main character just randomly appearing at places. And for some reason, there are always like criminals there who are related to the case. It's the script is not very good. Yeah, Roma a mano armata. I hope my pronunciations offend as many Italians as possible. I'm doing my best. Yeah, the tough ones. It's all right. It's nowhere near Umberto Lenzi's best. Then we have another Christopher Lee movie, The Whip and the Body, which is Mario Bava. Again, a gothic horror with lots of whipping in it, as you can probably imagine. Christopher Lee likes to whip people. And another cover for me to flip around. That's fine. This is a movie that a lot of people rate very highly. I've always thought it was quite underwhelming. Like the gothic horror aspects of it aren't that interesting, especially when it comes to Mario Bava, who is the master of that genre of horror. La frusta e il corpo. Yeah, comes in this nice case with a booklet and everything, a book and everything. So The Whip and the Body. Not a huge fan of the movie, but if you watch all other Mario Bava movies, that one's worth checking out as well. Then we have a zombie movie, Zombie High. A very generic school drama with zombies in it. It's your typical story. The bad teachers are turning the students into brain-dead zombies, that sort of thing. And the students have to fight it. Not the most imaginative social commentary out there. Quite basic stuff. But again, I enjoyed watching this movie. It's not great, but it's worth checking out if you're into zombies. Also, not the longest one. It's, what is it? Just 91 minutes, so an hour and 30. That's pretty good. Then we have, from this stack, the last one, Zombie 5 Killing Birds. Now, the thing to know about the zombie movies is that none of them are related to one another. They just try to sequel bait to get money. So Zombie 5 has nothing to do with, let's say, Zombie 3 or the Zombie Flesh Eaters or anything like that. So yeah, Killing Birds. It does feature some birds, but not as much as I would have liked. I thought the movie was a bit of a mess. It kind of falls apart. It has some interesting ideas. It is at times quite gruesome. The special effects, special effects in Italian horror movies are always great. There is no denying that. Do we have another cover? No, I have to flip it around. But yeah, the script just it's one of those movies where most of it is just nonsense, and you're just waiting for the kills. It's one of those. Great art. I like this art even better than the new one. Yeah, so that's the first stack. Then we have a couple of Van Damme movies. I have more of these as well, but these are the two that I've watched. So first off, we have In Hell, directed by Ringo Lam, who is a legendary Hong Kong director. It's a prison movie. Van Damme is in prison and he has to fight everyone. Oh, we don't have a reversible cover for this one. That's all right. It's not great, but I did enjoy my time watching it. Ringo Lam is a great director. It has some interesting action scenes in it, at least. And it has this older, rugged Van Damme. This is from the 2000s, right? Let's see. The early 2000s, I think. 2003. Yeah. So this is by no means a young Van Damme anymore. Also, this is a numbered copy of 1110 out of 3000. And then the other Van Damme movie, Nowhere to Run. There are many more that 88 Films have released, but I have a bunch of them as Nordic Blu-rays. So just a couple of these that haven't been released in the Nordic countries. This is also a numbered copy, 2726. It's a very generic and typical action movie. Van Damme goes to the countryside. There's a woman whose husband has died and is being harassed by some guy who wants to buy her farm, and he gets involved and has to fight these gangsters. Like very, very typical stuff. But again, if you're into Van Damme movies, not the worst one out there. Then next up, I have a bunch of these Taigun collection releases. I've watched 4 of them. I do also have the other 2. So, I also forgot to mention, I have many more releases by 88 Films than I thought that I would have. So I thought that this was going to be a one-parter, just one video, but I have to do 2 videos, separate videos for this collection. And the stuff that I watched is all here, and the stuff that I haven't watched is in the other piles. So the second video is all about movies that I haven't watched yet. So some of the collection is, you have this Italian collection and Asia collection, and now the Taigun collection. So not all of the movies that I have are in the same stacks here. So let's start off with the Body Stealers, which is a cheap Invasion of the Body Snatchers movie. Not a great one, but I do like the main character, like this guy. He's pretty good. He's in multiple of these Taigun movies, and these 1960s, late 1960s, early 1970s British B movies, which is like Taigun collection is all about that sort of stuff. So you have these British, very cheaply made, or at least they looked cheaply made, horror movies and thrillers and stuff like that. So the Body Stealers, not the best, but not the worst either. This one is worse. The Beast in the Cellar. it has an interesting premise. It has this bunch of women who are hiding some kind of a monster in the cellar. Surprise, surprise. Does these have alternative covers? I forgot to check. Oh yes, they do. I have to flip these around. Let's do that next. This cover I'm not a huge fan of. I already saw what it looks like. Also, to the collectors out there who are gasping at my rough handling of the covers when I'm flipping them, I don't care. I'm not going to sell these. Like, these are in my shelves forever. The Body Stealers. There you go. Some bikini boobs. So yeah, The Beast in the Cellar. I thought the movie fell apart pretty badly near the end. The payoff is not that great. The suspense is alright, but the payoff is not that great. Why do they insist on using the same cover for both sides? So annoying. If there is some damage to the cover art when I'm flipping them around, that is too bad. Should be good enough. A chill-filled festival of horror. I'm pretty sure The Beast in the Cellar doesn't look anything like the image here, but there you go, The Beast in the Cellar. Now that I got these out of the way, let's talk about the actual like good ones from the collection. So first up we have The Sorcerers, which is a Boris Karloff movie. Or Boris Karloff, he isn't the main character here, but he has a very prominent role. Also extremely nice looking cover. So Boris Karloff and his wife in the movie are psychics, and they manipulate people. And it's all about those two people trying to grab as much power and influence people in unsavory ways. And it's very interesting. I enjoyed this one a lot. He turns them on, he turns them off. To live, love, die, or kill. That's a good tagline. Nice looking poster as well. So The Sorcerers, definitely worth checking out if you're into thrillers or horror movies. It's from 1967. And then by far the best one in this series is, of course, Witchfinder General, with Vincent Price as the Witchfinder. A very well directed, well made. It's directed by Michael Reeves, who sadly died after, I think, directing 3 or 4 movies. I watched all of them. This is the good stuff. I really like this movie a lot. Michael Reeves was a very talented young director, so losing him was definitely a big blow to the British horror scene. And here we have another cover art for this, Witchfinder General. As you can probably guess, the movie is about witches and hunting witches. Right, then we have another weird one here. 88 Walt, Joe Bullitt, starring Ken Gampu, everyone's favorite action star. This is a South African football corruption action movie. Not the greatest film out there, but I think it's quite entertaining. It's one of those movies that's so bad that it's kind of funny and good at the same time, right? Then we have another Italian movie here, Umberto Lenzi and 7 Bloodstained Orchids, which has some interesting imagery there. It's a movie about a killer who kills women, and there are 7 of them. It's a giallo. Pretty good. Not the best, but pretty good. Then we have another stinker, but also kind of a funny movie, Night of the Demon, which is a Bigfoot movie. If you want to watch a movie where a Bigfoot rips a motorcyclist's penis off, then this is the one for you. Have fun and enjoy your time with it. There are many scenes in this movie that are so ridiculous. I haven't seen anything like it in any other movies. I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, there's the alternative art, Night of the Demon. For this one, I will absolutely not show any booklets or anything like that. One of the most violent and bloody movies in this whole section here, right? Then we have a couple of releases from Planet Film Productions. First up, we have Night of the Big Heat featuring Christopher Lee. By this one, I was very disappointed. I also have the book on my shelf, but I don't remember if I've read it or not. It's about heat. It just starts to get hot and people start bursting into flames, basically. It sounds like a great premise. It has Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing in it. It's directed by Terence Fisher, who's one of the Hammer Films directors, who did a lot of the Hammer films, the most well-known classic Hammer films stuff. And it's so boring. There is a payoff at the end, but even the payoff is disappointing. Man, I had high hopes for that one, but it just fell apart very quickly. And then we have Island of Terror, featuring Peter Cushing again. It's a movie about alien blobs. There you go. There's an alien blob. Alien blobs appear and they start killing people. I don't know why they are such a terror, because they are just slime crawling around at ridiculously slow speeds. So some of the death scenes in this movie are hilariously bad, where people are just standing there next to the blobs and getting killed for no reason. You could just move your leg and you'd be fine, but okay. Island of Terror. It's an alright, pretty fun B-movie. And that's it for the non-Asia stuff. Then I have a bunch of Japanese and Hong Kong releases here. Let's start off with Japan. Now, Alien Films haven't released a lot of Japanese films, but they have started ramping up the amount and the pace. So last year they started releasing these Japan Anarchy movies, in this line, with this like OB card. You can remove it if you want to, but I like how it looks like on the shelf, so I've kept them. The bad thing is that it covers a part of the art, but I think they've designed it well enough to look pretty good. So yeah, this is Evil Dead Trap, which, as you can tell, is a horror movie, and it's a combination of just everything. You have your American slasher movie stuff here. You have the Italian Dario Argento giallo movie rip-off parts. You have some Mario Bava here, like just all the good stuff from Europe and America just slammed together into this bowl of weird Japanese gore. And the ending of this movie, the final 10 minutes, are completely insane. So I heavily suggest you watch Evil Dead Trap. It's a good one. The sequel, I thought the first one was much better. The cover arts are just something else. Oh yeah, these are also numbered. So what did I get here? 1,885 out of 2,500. And here, I got the number 39. Very nice. Of 2,500, yeah. So, yeah, the second one, I don't even remember much about it. Is it about the one with the television show woman? Yeah. There's a cinema. Yeah, it's a TV news reporter. Yeah. It's alright, but it's not as memorable as the first one. And then this was actually the first one in the line that they released. This is Tokyo Decadence, which I don't know why they started with this movie, because it's not very good. It's directed by Ryu Murakami, who is a writer, a very, very famous novelist from Japan, and yeah, he directed a movie, Tokyo Decadence. It's not very good. It's an awfully paced, really slow and boring movie about BDSM addicts, kind of, but not really. It doesn't really go anywhere, so there's that. And then I have, well, now we get to the most questionable stuff that I have in my entire collection, just all across the board, all the different labels. So this is the Guts trilogy: Guts of a Virgin, Guts of a Beauty, and Rusted Body. Now, these movies are, let's say, 75% softcore porn and 25% gore. So that's basically what they are. I'm not going to even show covers, probably. I'll take a look at myself. That's fine. So this is the first one. They are not as bad as it would seem from the covers. Like, the amount of gore is not... It's manageable. It's not that bad. The second one has the problem that the sex scenes are they are so long and they get just ridiculous. The third one is probably the most experimental and out there of all of these. But yeah, the first one I thought was pretty good, actually, even. Like a surprisingly good 5 out of 10. Maybe bordering a 6 out of 10. So they are surprisingly well made. I was quite enjoying it. It does fall apart a little bit by the end of it. It starts to get a bit boring, but for the most part, pretty good. The second one is just sex, like 90 minutes of people licking each other. It's not very enjoyable. And then the third one is just it's such an experience. It's more like a sci-fi movie at times. Right, then we get to the Hong Kong stuff. I'll switch stacks because these are more heavy than the other ones. Here we have some of the most bizarre movies ever released on Blu-ray. So let's start off with The Untold Story, which is, well, as you can tell, it is quite something. It's a dramatization of the real murders that happened in Hong Kong, where there were some gambling debts and the guy just, killed the whole family. And it's a dramatization of that. And the crazy thing about Hong Kong is that the main actor, who is Anthony Wong, this guy, a very famous actor, he won, I think, at the Hong Kong Film Awards, he won the Best Actor award for this movie, if I'm not mistaken. It's one of the most disturbing and gory and violent movies probably ever made, at least of what I've seen. It's up there with Men Behind the Sun in terms of the how gruesome the imagery is. Then we have Robo Tricks, which is a ridiculous action exploitation movie where this killer is rampant and people are trying to hunt him. So lots of nudity, lots of violence, lots of action. It's a good one, Robo Tricks. Then we have a ridiculous manga adaptation, Rikyo, the story of Ricky. Oh yeah, by the way, let's take a look at these covers. Is there something here? Do I even want to look if there is an alternative cover for this as well? Maybe I'll go back a little bit and flick through these quickly. So I would like to see what they look like myself. I don't think I've ever even checked them out. So there we go. It's a bit of a hassle to get these turned around. I wish I didn't have to. So yeah, this is The Untold Story. He makes food out of the people he kills also, so why not? Sells the meat at a restaurant. And for Robo Tricks, do we have a cover here? Yes. What a strange cover for this thing. Doesn't really give off the vibe of the movie at all. It looks more like some cheap James Bond ripoff, which it definitely isn't. So there you go. That's the alternative cover art. It doesn't even fit the freaking case properly. Just a moment, I'll try to fix it. Now it's better. Right, so Rikyo. It's a manga adaptation. It doesn't even have a proper story, really. It's just this really buff guy fighting against these other really buff guys and women who just... They are in a prison as well, because of course they are in a prison. Well, if you're looking for a story in a movie, this isn't for you, because it doesn't really have any kind of a logical story structure to it. Just a sequence of scenes where Ricky beats people up. So if you're into that sort of thing, check it out. Oh, is this? Oh yeah, this is by the director of The Seventh Curse, which is coming up. That's a crazy movie as well. Then we have On the Run, starring Yuen Biao, who is a pretty good actor sometimes. Oh, we have the alternative cover here already. Nice. So On the Run. It's a very typical Hong Kong action movie. Nothing special. Just, a good time. I don't have anything bad to say about it. It's just very typical. If you watch a lot of Hong Kong action movies, they kind of start to feel samey, like the ones that aren't the all-time greats. They start to feel kind of samey very quickly, right? And then next up we have another Yuen Biao movie, Iceman Comet, with Maggie Cheung as well in it. Now this is a bizarre movie. This ancient warrior who was frozen, comes back fully preserved and is on a mission. I'm not going to spoil anything about it. It's again one of those movies, the less you know about it, the better it is. I especially like the beginning of the movie, where the people are just rolling down the hill, on the snowy hill. They're just rolling down the hill, getting stuck into the snow piles. Very fun. So yeah, it's a ridiculous sci-fi action comedy, horror, whatever. Just everything rolled up into this one glorious package. The Iceman Comet, definitely worth watching. Next up we have Black Cat, which is another action movie. It's a spoof of or a rip-off of the Nikita movie by Luc Besson, and this female assassin subgenre of action movies. Pretty enjoyable. I think this one is much better than the Arrow Films released The Villainous, the Korean movie. This one is I think a much better version of the story. It's more action, and I think it's better paced and so on. Right. Then we have The Seventh Curse, teased already. Another one of these just bizarre Hong Kong movies. It's a horror movie. It's I don't know. Little kids are getting thrown into pits as a human sacrifice and everything. It's also kind of like it's like a Hong Kong version. It's a Hong Kong horror version of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Something like that. It's out there. It's very bizarre. And the less you know about it, the better. And then from this pile, we also have Long Arm of the Law, which are some of the most high quality action movies that have come out of Hong Kong. If you haven't seen these, check them out. Completely crazy stuff. Just filming in the middle of Hong Kong without any permits. Just bank robbery scenes and police chases and everything. Just they're in the middle of a street. with the random people not even knowing that they are being filmed for a movie. That wouldn't really be possible today, but back in the day, who cares? All right. Then we have some more Hong Kong goodness. The Holy Virgin versus the Evil Dead. Now, this is a movie that has a great title. It has Donnie Yen in it, who is really good. Most people probably know him now from the John Wick. Was it John Wick 4? Where Donnie Yen plays the blind assassin, right? So this is from the 80s. Oh, it's 91. So it's a bit later than I remember. Has a great title, has a great cover. I think the cover and the name are probably better than the movie. It's again one of those weird horror / fantasy movies from Hong Kong. But yeah, not a huge fan of it necessarily. Does it have? Oh yeah, it also has this. What is this cover art? Why? Okay, the back is the same. Why? Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on. Next up, we have another movie featuring Anthony Wong. Taxi Hunter. A ridiculous movie, also very enjoyable. I'm a huge fan of Taxi Hunter. It's the tragic story of a man whose pregnant wife gets killed in a freak taxi accident, and Anthony Wong's character vows to hunt down all of the taxi drivers who aren't taking good care of their customers and who are not behaving well. Yeah, it's ridiculous, but it's really fun, a good time. There you have. That's the Taxi Hunter. Definitely worth checking out. Out of all of these Hong Kong movies that I've talked about so far, I would say the Taxi Hunter, Long Arm of the Law, and probably. Do we have something here? Let's take this one. This one. These are probably the three best ones here. So Taxi Hunter, Long Arm of the Law, especially the first one, and then God of Gamblers, featuring Chow Yun-fat and Andy Lau. So a very good combination. So God of Gamblers is a story of a man who is the greatest gambler of all time. But then, of course, he gets hit in the head and has amnesia and forgets who he is. But he still knows how to gamble. Yeah, it's a very entertaining action movie. Lots of gambling scenes in it, of course. Just all around a good time. As you can see here, Chow Yun-fat, Andy Lau enjoying life. It's good stuff. Then we have some weird ones again. Let's go with Magic Crystal next. Featuring Andy Lau. It's a movie about Hong Kong, people from Hong Kong who are in Greece, and there's a magic crystal for some reason, and everyone wants to get the crystal. What do we have here on the other side? It's a good thing that I'm recording this video because I get to flip all of these covers as well. I don't have to do it just, for no reason. There you go. Many of these original look at this guy's face. Many of these original posters I don't think are really that great, but they're always fun to look at. But yeah, Magic Crystal. I mean, it's good for a watch, but I wouldn't really probably go back to it. Magic Cop. Next up. What a strange movie. This has fighting scenes in it where the people fighting each other are not in the same room, which is quite interesting and actually works surprisingly well. I thought the fight scenes were really fun. So this has a cop in it who, surprise, surprise, like the main guy, he's a magic cop. He knows, I guess it's Taoist magic, so he can create fireballs and stuff. And he uses that to apprehend criminals. Yeah, it's weird, but I think it's charming, to say the least. Right, what else can I fit on the screen? Let's go with Blue Jean Monster. Horror action hybrid, not the greatest out there. It's a rare sight to see this guy as the main actor. He's usually a side character in a lot of these movies, but here he's the main guy. It's probably a good thing that he's just the side actor for most of his movies. But yeah, again, the art makes this look like the greatest movie of all time. It's really not that great, unfortunately. So you have this main guy who is a cop, and he gets killed, but then resurrected by some electricity or something. I can't remember. And now he's a zombie blue jean cop, but like Frankenstein's monster version of it. Right. Then we have one of the most gruesome movies ever made. This is Ebola Syndrome. About, again, Anthony Wong. Man, that guy is willing to do anything in a movie. So Anthony Wong goes to Africa, gets AIDS, or not AIDS, Ebola, the Ebola virus, and brings it back to Hong Kong. And he's completely mental in the movie. Very enjoyable movie. Very, very fun movie. Yeah. For some more lighthearted stuff, let's go with Stephen Chow and Forbidden City Cop, which is a ridiculous early Stephen Chow comedy movie. This is from 96. Yeah. So this is before all of the ones that he's most famous for, like Shaolin Soccer and stuff like that. It's pretty fun. There's a great fight scene at the end that has magnets in it. The magnet fight scene is incredible, so it's worth watching just for that one fight scene. Right, do I have any room here? Not really. I'll do a couple more. I'll put them here on top of the other stacks. For more Stephen Chow, I have the Fight Back to School box set. This is a trilogy. The first movie is a quintessential dumb Stephen Chow comedy movie. If you like Stephen Chow, you have to watch the first Fight Back to School, where a 30-something Stephen Chow with his sidekick, who looks like he's 50 and has a full mustache, go undercover into a high school to bust some youth gang members or something. It's so dumb. Then the second one, that's the one where they go to the international school, right? It sounds good, but I wish it was better. Also, yeah, these are the covers. That's the first movie. It won't focus well. Now it did. Okay, took some trying. So yeah, in the second movie they go to the international school. It's not that great, except for this guy. Like this, he's one of my favorite people in Hong Kong movies. This guy with the Terminator look and the shotgun, just showing up to school in full Kevlar armor and shotgun, wearing a leather jacket. Yeah, that's great. And then the third one, I don't even know why it's a part of this series, because it has nothing to do with schools. It's just Stephen Chow as a spy. It also has Anthony Wong wearing this ridiculous fur hat, right? So it does have some amusing parts to it, but for the most part, I thought the third one was kind of a missed opportunity. The first one is really, really fun, and the second one is quite amusing as well, right? Next up, we have Jet Li and The Master, which is your typical immigrant comes to America and has a hard time, and there are some gangsters in it. Not the greatest, but I didn't hate my life after watching it. And then we have a John Woo movie. Heroes Shed No Tears. It's a like a Vietnam War style action movie where these Hong Kong special units people, I guess, or just mercenaries, whoever, go to the jungle and just shoot everyone. Your typical Vietnam stuff when it comes to action movies. Then I have room here for 2 more, so I have to put a couple of these into the next video. We have The Postman Fights Back by Ronnie Yu featuring Chow Yun-fat. This is the movie in which the courier tries to deliver some package, and there's all kinds of trouble on the way. I don't remember much about this one. It was all right, I guess. And then, well, this one is much more memorable. This is Hard Boiled 2: The Last Blood. Oh yeah, does this have some... I always forget to look at the other covers. Heroes Shed No Tears and The Master I don't really care about if there even are alternative covers for them, but I guess I'll take a look at those as well. So here you go. This is The Postman Fights Back. Oh yeah, it also has Leo Carian, who is a very famous actor as well. These have some covers. Flip. Yeah, there is. That's Jet Li. And Heroes Shed No Tears. Yeah, these were already flipped. That looks really good. That's the poster right there. Yeah. So then we get to Hard Boiled 2: The Last Blood, which is a ridiculous movie. It's about Dalai Lama who gets wounded in a terrorist attack, and he has some really rare blood type that only one person in Hong Kong has, and of course that one person is being hunted by the people who want Dalai Lama dead and the people who are trying to save Dalai Lama. What a ridiculous storyline. Really enjoyable movie in many ways. Really fun as well. The good thing about many of these Hong Kong action movies is that they are really funny at the same time. Extremely violent, but really funny also. So yeah, that's the first part of my 88 Films collection. I was thinking that I'll have to film 2 videos. This will probably maybe even take 3 because I can't fit everything on screen. So we'll see. So hope you enjoyed that one. I'll see you again for the next one at some point. Bye bye.